Welcome back, everybody, to your three-man booth. We are headed towards the AFC NFC Championships. Wow, 3 games left in the NFL season. I'm Dan Salem with Phil and Bud. We've been making ATS picks all year. We were undefeated last week. We're going to end on that high note, but give you our single lock of championship weekend. We all ended at 500 or better, including the playoffs. It was an excellent season, keeping records here. I'm very impressed. We deserve a round of applause between the three of us.
And next year, next football season, when Connecticut finally legalizes sports gambling, we can do it for real.
Oh man, then we're going to really turn a nice profit out if we continue this hot streak.
Yeah, well, it's coming. It's coming soon.
On that note, Phil, who's our lock of championship weekend? We got 2 matchups: Green Bay and Tampa Bay, and Buffalo versus the Chiefs.
Well, because the Buffalo Chief game is kind of up in the air, although I think all of us expect Mahomes to play. The fact that the line's 3 for KC pretty much tells us Mahomes is going to play. If there was any inkling he wasn't, it'd be Buffalo -3. So we're just going to stay away from that game just in case. As we were talking show prep before, we're all going to go with Green Bay because, one, Bud doesn't want to see Tom Brady in another NFC or Super Bowl. But at the same time, I mean, the Packers are just they're clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah,
it's big against Green Bay right now.
They're giving up 3.5. I mean,
3.5. And that game against the Saints was a little tough to watch at times. It wasn't an offensive explosion that we thought it was going to be.
Tom Brady did not play well. And by the way, the weather in Green Bay this Sunday is not going to be good.
Well, I would almost say that both Tom Brady and Drew Brees played as we would expect a 40-year-old quarterback to play in the middle of winter. So Aaron Rodgers might be the exception here.
But they were in a dome.
Well, it's still winter time, technically.
All right. But anyway, but Bud's right. I mean, Green Bay, I hope it snows. I mean, I want to see – I mean, it's not going to be as bad as the NFC Championship game when the Giants beat Green Bay. It won't be that cold. I want to see a little snow, though.
Both teams got pretty good running backs, but I still think that Green Bay's going to pass the happy.
I think so, too. So that's our lock, our final one of the year. Maybe we'll do a Super Bowl one, but that's more just for fun. But we're going to go with Green Bay -3.5.
Yeah, I like it. All right, the elephant in the room. This team hired a new coach. I think we got to talk about that first. I'm excited, but I know you two are excited. Everyone seems to be excited, which as a Jets fan scares the crap out of me. Let's hear what you got to say first.
I think that during the podcast, I've always been saying that I want Eric Bieniemy. Now, it's shocking to me that nobody has even hired him yet, unless there's really not many jobs available. So I don't know what the problem is with him, but nevertheless, I'm excited that he's going to be our next coach. He brings an energy. Everything that I hear about him is that he's a good leader, which is important because I think Adam Gase was clearly not a good leader. I think that the fact that they gave him a 5-year contract gives him a little bit of comfort, and hopefully they can figure this out and build through the draft, unless they trade all their draft picks for Deshaun Watson, which, by the way, I'm not terribly opposed to. But I like it. I mean, again, you watch how San Francisco's defense has played the last 3 years. It's been a top 10 defense. He's learned a lot from Shanahan. I hope that not Shanahan. Yeah, Shanahan, right?
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan. I hope that I hope that Mike LaFleur is as good as his brother. I really do. And then they just need to figure out what they're going to do offensively. I mean, I think once they get CJ Mosley back, I think once he gets his defensive system in, it reminds me a little bit of like Rex Ryan, where it brings this energy to a team that is lacking energy in all aspects of football. So I'm hoping that it accomplishes what they want, and yeah, I'm happy about it. I mean, I don't know what the alternative was, because they interviewed a lot of coaches and a lot of good people that I think could have been good coaches. But I think if you think holistically, this was a guy that was sought after by a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Well, when they let him leave the building, I literally thought the Jets missed out on this opportunity. And the fact that they were able to still get him after they visited the Eagles was a good sign that he said that he wanted to coach the Jets. So
yeah,
we'll give him credit for that.
Yeah, that's excellent. I think the only other early option was the offense coordinator of Tennessee, who got hired, who took a job immediately after the Jets hired Rob.
Well, he took a job he's in Atlanta now, right?
Yeah.
That's Smith, right?
Yeah. And then I'm surprised the KC offense coordinator didn't go to the Chargers. We all thought that would happen. You think maybe he'll succeed Andy Reid? I don't know. I mean, you always speculate.
Here's what I think the problem is with Eric Bieniemy, and I don't think there's anything wrong with Eric Bieniemy. I think that there's two things that have been playing against him. One, Andy Reid is the one who calls the plays in Kansas City. So how much of Eric Bieniemy is actually a product of how good they are offensively? And two, Kansas City is now 3 years in a row in the AFC Championship game. Teams can't hire him.
No.
Right? So, I mean, if you're the Jets, say you're the Jets and you're waiting on Eric Bieniemy, right? You see all the other teams filling in their roster spots, right? All the other coaches.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be the last team on the train hoping for Eric Bieniemy, and then he says, no thanks, keeping in mind that all the other good coaches that you've interviewed have now found jobs.
I know.
I mean, you have to kind of have that into effect. So I think one is, I'm not sure if people are sold on if it's him or Andy Reid, and two, the fact that they can't hire him yet, has to play something into effect on that.
We saw the same thing happen with New England, because what if he might want to go back, especially if they win another title, and so like it's hard to pull the coordinators away from a team that's going to make the Super Bowl, and then they may not want to leave. And I'm happy the Jets made the first hire. I mean, Urban Meyer was kind of first, but anyways, they needed to strike first on the coordinators, and they did. I really like that they went with the defensive guy again. I think the energy is right on. You nailed that. And it kind of shows, I think they have more talent on defense. So to hire a defensive coach that can use that talent is a positive. I don't want to see them trade their picks, only because I think if they add the Alabama wide receiver or someone like him, there's like 2 or 3 wide receivers that are all really, really top level. That will make any quarterback very good. I mean, Garoppolo never blew me away, but he did more than enough in San Francisco, and they won a lot of football games. Sam has that ability. I mean, he's just been tossed around the washing machine of the NFL. So it's Phil, am I naive? Yeah. I was going to talk.
I mean, not to interrupt you, but I agree with you. I think that the Jets have a good process going. They have a lot of draft capital. If they're able to get Deshaun Watson, you get Deshaun Watson. Yeah. However, I totally agree with you. I think that you keep your second pick. You get Devontae Smith, and then you just continue to stockpile. I mean, this is how drafts are won. But at the same time, if you need to hemorrhage the future to get a player that is in his prime at 25 years old, who threw for almost 5,000 yards and almost 40 touchdowns this year on a 4-12 football team. I mean, don't you do that?
You kind of have to.
Right? I mean, you have to weigh the pros and the cons. I mean, if you trade away the second pick, the second round pick, and then you have a lot of first round draft picks coming up in the future, you still have first round draft picks. You're not hemorrhaging everything.
Yeah.
These next 2 years. So
I know
what I'd like to see. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to try to throw it to Phil. Do you actually think the Jets are the most likely landing spot for Watson? Because he definitely seems like he's leaving.
So from what I've been listening to here and there, the problem is Houston has to be willing to trade him. He could say he wants to leave all he wants, but Houston has to pull the trigger. Now, apparently people are fleeing Houston because Harden just got traded to the Nets. So it's not like, Houston doesn't exactly seem like the sport capital of the world. But from what I'm hearing, the Jets actually have the most to offer in that kind of scenario.
But that's because they have the most draft capital.
Right. More than Miami, more than whoever else, Dallas, whatever. Not Dallas, but is going to trade for him. But they have the best. They could offer the best package.
If I were Miami, I would trade the number 3 pick and Tua, and then because they were 10-6 this year with Tua, and Tua did not play well.
Well, were they really with 10-6 with Tua, or were they 10-6 with Fitzpatrick?
That's also a very good point. But they're a winning football team who could have, if they win, they're in. If they have Deshaun Watson, they probably are an 11-5 football team with the way that their defense plays, maybe even 12-4.
Doesn't Deshaun Watson have a no trade clause too? I thought I read something about he was willing to waive it if one of the destinations was Miami. So
yes, he has a no trade clause.
Right. So even if Houston or even if the Jets are like, hey, we'll give you the farm, he could be like, I'm good. So now, there's 2 parts to that.
Can somebody like the Cowboys trade for him, because they don't have to bring Zach?
They are in salary cap hell. They have to be in salary cap hell. They have to be. I don't even think they can afford him.
They have no space now. The Jets. The reason why the Jets is so, what's the word I'm looking for? Why it could work so well for the Jets is because one, they have draft capital, and there's $77 million under the cap. So it's not a huge cap hit for Deshaun Watson for this year and for next year. It's the following years on his contract that are really bad. So
you can draft him, and get Will Fuller in free agency. You can bring Will Fuller with him. He loves Will Fuller.
Mark Ingram.
Yeah, but oh my God! Please, you guys are starting to get me a little worked up here. We
want to get you worked up. We should talk about Adam Gase going to the Seahawks as their offensive coordinator.
That's not what I heard. I heard that the Seahawks were looking at Doug Peterson for their offensive coordinator job.
That'd be a better move, in my opinion.
There is no way that a winning franchise like Seattle would bring Adam Gase in to run their offense. Yeah, right. Not a chance in hell.
I just want to see Adam Gase and Jamal Adams stuck on the same team again. I just want to see it.
Did you see what Robbie Anderson came out and said yesterday?
I did.
Or it could have been yesterday or today. That playing for the Jets last year, he lost the passion of playing football. And this is like the second or third player that was on the Jets last year that said the same thing. He said that the building, the coaching, it was the worst he'd ever been around.
It's crazy.
Which again, doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't. And it's crazy because that was his first year as their coach. Like, it's almost like he didn't expect to get a job offer. He just took the interview and it was like, oh crap, they're going to pay me. I guess I'll do it. Like, because if everyone felt that way in his first year as head coach of a new team, it means he had no desire to do his job or let alone create any kind of an environment that anybody wanted to be around him, which is just ridiculous. Nobody wins that way. I don't even know. Nobody keeps their job like that. So, yeah.
I would be shocked if he has a job in the NFL this year.
You think he goes to college? He could be a good college coach. He just yells at people or makes those funny.
Yeah, but I don't think that would work in college. It didn't work in the pros.
Yeah,
it's his way or the highway kind of mentality. You also need to be a good recruiter, and you see how these NFL guys are talking about him. Nobody wants to play for him. What if him or somebody from another college comes walking in the door, they're not going to play for Adam Gase. Please, break.
So what did he say to get the Jets to hire him? I'm like, because nothing about this guy, his personality.
I swallow. I don't know. I don't know.
Seriously, yeah. Oh, maybe he said he could get Joe Douglas, and that was what did it. I'm just wondering.
Hey, listen, if that's what it was, great.
Yeah.
Because if Joe Douglas can prove over the next 2 years that he can build through the draft and build a winning football team, thank you, Adam Gase.
I know.
I mean, I think, Becton was obviously a solid first-round pick. He certainly looks the part as a solid left tackle. If Mims can stay healthy, I think that he could be really good. The rest of the draft was just so-so. But once you start getting into third, fourth, fifth, sixth round draft picks, they're hit and miss anyway, right?
Right. The number 1s and 2s are supposed to be locks. They're supposed to be. It's bad teams. Bad teams miss a lot. Mediocre teams hit about 50%. I think. Yeah, won't throw your Giants under the bus. They've hit on the picks they're supposed to, at least.
I'd say the last couple of drafts have been pretty good for them.
Yeah, got the extension, so it's fair.
Yeah.
So I want to circle back to
the last first round bust for the Giants was Eric Flowers. That was the last first round bust, and that was a Gettleman pick. I don't remember. It might have been.
He's been around a while. Yeah.
That one you can kill him for. That was terrible.
I want to circle back to the teams that got eliminated last weekend. The Browns had a good season. The Ravens had another good season. New Orleans had a good season, but Drew Brees is leaving, so that team, I guess, is Teddy Bridgewater.
Maybe.
And the Rams.
He's going to leave. I think he leaves. He's going to say that. He's going to think about it, and that's all fine and good. Come on. We saw him. He can't. The announcer said it. They didn't throw the ball down the field more than 20 yards one time.
And Michael Thomas put off his surgery so that he could just play with Drew Brees into retirement. So,
right. Michael Thomas was playing hurt. I saw something today that A.J. Brown is going to have surgery, and he was hurt in week 2, but he got it out for the whole year.
Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, that's at the end of a dynasty in New Orleans. I think they're due to at least slightly rebuild with a new.
I mean, they're gonna run it back with Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. Good luck.
Where's Teddy Bridgewater? I thought he was
in Carolina.
Oh, right. He switched over and he was starting over there. That's right.
That's another team. Don't sleep on New Orleans to maybe go after Deshaun Watson. I mean, think about what. Yeah. I mean, if Drew Brees retires, think about what Drew Brees has been able to accomplish. Right. He got hurt in San Diego in a playoff game or the last game of the season, and everybody wrote him off that he would never be able to throw the football the way that he used to be able to throw it. And then what he ended up doing is going to New Orleans and turning a franchise around that had been a doormat. Yeah. And now every year they are perennial winner. They are right there every single year, right? They're double-digit wins, and yeah, he's only won one Super Bowl, but that franchise has now looked. They don't think of, if you think New Orleans Saints, if you're 20 years old, right? You don't think New Orleans Saints as what we think of the New Orleans Saints, where they used to wear bags and there was nobody in the stands.
They've been
right?
good. Yeah,
people think of them as a winning franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So to Phil's point, they better figure out their quarterback position, because without a quarterback, they may dip from 13 wins every single year to 5 wins, and that's not going to be good.
No, and Watson is
because they have enough talent. They have enough talent.
Yeah, both sides of the football, and then Sean Payton helps with maintaining the consistency. I don't know who will be quarterback for them. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they brought Jameis Winston in to throw that long touchdown pass. See, that wasn't Brees who threw the touchdown. That was Winston on the flea flicker there, or the hook and ladder. Hook and ladder play.
Well, I would almost pose a similar question about the Rams, because I know they got hurt later in the year, but Goff has been a game manager. He is not like won games. Like, he's done well. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but they would have done better if he was 100% or a different player was in his position also. I don't know if they continue forward with him. I mean,
well, they have to pay him though still, right? Like, him and Wentz are the poster childs for why you don't break the bank for quarterbacks, right? Now, obviously the other exceptions are the Aaron Rodgers of the world and Mahomes, but I mean, those are just two middle of the road quarterbacks that they broke the bank for. And
it's tough because
both going to be on the team next year.
Wentz won an MVP and Goff took him to a Super Bowl, so it's tough.
I would somewhat disagree with you there, Phil. I mean, if you were a Giants fan and you had your choice of Jared Goff or Daniel Jones, who would you take right now?
Right now? Well, yeah, I mean,
Right now.
Okay. The fact that you have to think about it, I think answers the question.
No.
Well, I mean, you called.
What?
Yeah, but you just called Jared Goff a mediocre quarterback. I mean, he's gone to a Super Bowl. He's had double-digit wins. He has a torn ligament in his throwing thumb right now. The only reason why he's playing is because the backup quarterback could have been paralyzed by Jamal Adams, and he ran into a buzzsaw in Aaron Rodgers. They were not blown out of that football game. They lost by what, 10 points?
Yeah, because of the defense.
Well, and Aaron Donald was hurt too, so they got a good team. That's why I'm just curious. Like, someone like Watson puts them over the top. And I'm not suggesting they could trade for him, but it puts them over the top into that Green Bay territory where you're legitimately scared of them.
It will be interesting to see where Watson goes.
I mean, they have Goff and Watson have pretty comparable contracts.
Yeah, I don't know why Houston would want Goff, only to get rid of Watson, I suppose. But we'd be remiss if we ignored the Browns because they had a tremendous year. I'm really happy to see them get over the hump, get in the playoffs, win a playoff game. They were competitive probably because Mahomes got hurt, but they didn't get blown out. They stuck with it. They scored on that team. They kept with it. But you were high on the Browns. I think they can keep it going. I don't feel like they were one and done, especially with the fall of the Steelers and other teams around them. But they're not a perfect team.
No, I agree with you, but I would disagree with you on one point. Even when Mahomes was in the game, they were still competitive. They were moving the football. And if what's his name? His name is drawing. If he did not fumble through the back of the end zone, which by the way is the stupidest rule in the history of the NFL, is the dumbest rule. That game would have been much, much closer, even with Patrick Mahomes in the game. So let's give Cleveland a little bit of credit here that, they were holding their own against arguably the best team in football.
Yeah.
And I think if there were a couple bounces here or there, I mean, Cleveland was right in it. And I think everybody.
It would have been so interesting if they punted that ball instead of going for it on 4th and 1. If they punted it back with what was a minute 17 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
It would be very interesting to see if Mayfield could have driven him down the field.
Well, they were moving the ball. I mean, I don't think that there's any doubt that he has an amazing arm.
Yeah.
I mean, his arm strength is unbelievable.
Yeah, I've really liked his progression as a quarterback. I mean, it's not like he went woo like straight up like Mahomes, obviously, but Mayfield's definitely getting better and looking good. And I mean, I don't see any reason for him to dip. I don't see any reason for some like Josh Allen or to dip either. But the Browns are just I want to believe they're still going to stay on top, but they haven't done it yet. So I guess we'll see. It's just
we didn't even mention Deshaun Watson going to Pittsburgh.
Oh,
could you imagine if that happened?
I can't see him in the middle of East Nowhere, Pennsylvania. I just can't.
Think of the talent he would have around him.
You think Ben is done? And I think we talked about this last week. I mean, I think he's done too.
I've been saying it every year. I do think he's done, but I've been wrong for 3 or 4 years in a row. So
there's going to be an quarterback overhaul change this year. I think this offseason.
Yeah. Well, so Ben lost the arm strength. Breeze lost the arm strength. We all agree that Brady's lost the arm strength, but he hasn't lost the confidence in his arm strength. So he has a team around him that can cover for him. We'll find out this weekend if it's actually good enough to roll with Rodgers. I can't imagine. But
I mean, I don't see he did not play well on Sunday.
No, he played well enough to win. I think that's the best thing I can say about him. He's done that his whole career in the playoffs. He's always played well enough to win. He's had a few like, oh my goodness games where he just dominated, but most of the time they play well enough to win. And there's nothing wrong with that. He has the best playoff record I think in NFL history. But just waiting for him to fall off the same cliff these other quarterbacks have fallen off of, or for at least for it to affect his team's outcome. It hasn't happened yet.
It could happen on Sunday.
It could. But would we really fault him having made it to the NFC Championship for a different team and losing to the Packers, who are good chance of winning the Super Bowl? I don't think we'd hold it against him.
Did you see the meme that came out, and I forgot who posted it, but Tom Brady in the NFC has won a NFC Championship appearance since 1997, and Dallas has 0.
Well, that's awesome.
And Dallas, and then the next line was years in the NFC. Tom Brady won Dallas 26 or something. That's like
great.
That. Something like that. So I thought of you, Phil, immediately. I said, Phil's got to see this.
Oh, I enjoy that one very much.
Well, Cowboys have got a heap of off-season drama, but the Eagles have yet to hire a coach, right?
I'm telling you, nobody wants to go there. They're screwed with salary cap. They're screwed with a quarterback. They're in a lot of trouble.
Well, I know that division was very even this year, but I have a hard time not seeing the Giants as on top. And
that's gonna change next year because Washington has a good defense. The Giants are coming along. We all think Eagles are gonna fall off, and who knows what Dallas is gonna do because Dak's coming back from reconstructive ankle surgery. They're going to have to pay him at some point if they want to keep him. Zeke's making a ton of money, and he didn't do anything this year. I don't know.
Well, I think they lost their offensive line, which really is what killed Dallas and Philly. And because that's why they were so good for so many years at the Cowboys. They had good offense.
Dallas's defense is bottom 5 easily. So,
yeah.
That's not something you fix overnight.
No, I agree. I worry about Washington because I don't know who's their quarterback. So I have a hard time. And then
that's another team that needs a quarterback. Now that we've been talking about this, you think of all these teams that pop up. Maybe the Raiders need a quarterback. The Steelers, maybe the Miami, Washington. Like there's a lot of
the Colts might need a quarterback.
Right. Rivers could retire tomorrow for all we know.
Yeah, I mean I don't know.
The Patriots need a quarterback.
Patriots. Yeah, Cam Newton's not. Well, we know they'll wait till August 31st to find somebody. But
I mean, there's the more you think about it, the more teams need it. So Watson's free. Yeah. But you got to give up the farm to get Watson, and it's really tough to do in the NFL to give up, mortgage your future for one player. It really is.
I agree. The thing is, he's timed this very well because he knows that all of these teams need quarterbacks. He's probably been unhappy there for several seasons, but he's finally speaking up.
Well, I think he was pissed when they traded DeAndre Hopkins. I think that kind of put him over the edge.
Yeah, and then they didn't have a good year, obviously, because of that. They were perennially on top of that division. I mean, they're not going to be there next year, even with him. So we all agree he's going to leave. I have no idea where, though. We didn't talk about it. We need to before the show runs out. Sam Darnold, I think that the move to hire their new head coach gives him a chance of starting for the Jets, but he had such a bad season and he's associated with all the losing. I don't know if he'll actually keep the job. I'm going to start with you, Phil, because you have an outside perspective real quick. What do you think? And then I'm going to go to Bud, who has a personal interest in the outcome.
I say keep him, keep your draft pick, and just build that way. That's what you should do.
Do you think he's done enough to warrant giving him another year under center because it's a cheap rookie contract?
Well, that, and now you're giving him another coach, which may have a new system. We all agree the last coach was a disaster. So can you really pin that on him? Probably not, right? So I would give him the benefit of the doubt with that.
Okay.
Because look what happened last year. I think he had a pretty good year last year.
Yeah, when he was healthy, because he was out for a while with mono, but
right. So I feel like it's like it's a pass. This year's pass.
What do you think, Bud?
The cover was empty. Bud said it all year. There's no receivers. There's no running game. Bell wanted out. That no one knows who was calling the plays. It was just it's a pass. It's a gimme. It's a mulligan. Whatever you want to use.
Well, the two things worry me about Darnold. One is he allowed Adam Gase to just tell him what to do. He never stood up and said, you know what, maybe I want to call an audible. He just kind of said, okay, coach. And now I know he's very young, and this is his first time in the league. He's still on his rookie deal. He's younger than a lot of other quarterbacks who were rookies this year. But he didn't galvanize the team when he could have easily gotten the team behind or against the coach. And I'm not sure that I don't know. That bothers me a little bit. And he did not get any better this season, so that scares the crap out of me. Go ahead, bud.
I think that to put a young quarterback in his now third system is going to be difficult. I think with the right playmakers in the right system, Sam Darnold will be a very good player. I think it would be best for him to move on.
Yeah. Well,
and that pains me to say because I just bought his jersey, and this always happens when I buy people's jerseys. They always get traded or they get released.
This team.
But I think that it's probably in the Jets' best interest to move forward. Now, if they keep him and they build around him and he has a great year next year, I'll be super stoked, and it would not surprise me if he does well. But to your point, I think that he's the word around not around the street, but he's been on a losing team, and I don't know if he can nick that.
Yeah, I guess when he had Robbie Anderson, that connection was money, and it made everything else better. They have the ability to fill the holes and give him some assets. They need to empower him with some confidence. And I didn't like his body language this year. I know that he got hurt again. Like, he's been hurt on every single season of his career. So that, again, also is worrisome. Now, they could potentially win with him and then just go in another direction after the season and not bring him back. I don't know if they'd be able to, because he's worth too much. He's due too much money for his value at this point. He didn't earn it. He didn't earn that $25 million fifth year or whatever it is. But we're not going to get an answer anytime soon. This would be a bottom line. We won't know until well near the NFL draft if he's going to be the head quarterback or not. All right. Well, 3 games left in the year. Our team's got a new head coach. The Giants are just enjoying martinis. Any final words from you two before we head into championship weekend?
Go Bills.
Yeah, no. I mean, you look at the match. It's Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, and Allen. I mean, either matchup, whatever matchup it ends up being, is going to be good Super Bowl.
Yeah,
At the beginning of the year, you would have signed up for this.
Yeah. There's no dud. I don't think there's going to be any dud on Sunday, and there's going to be no dud Super Bowl matchup. It's going to be, you can't go wrong.